Hey. Okay.
Well,
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Repeat after. Hold on. Mary. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Our mission to provide agents with a place where they can be empowered, trained, motivated to experience growth, wealth, and a legacy that allows them to live their best life possible. Our belief.
When the values of your company align with your own beliefs, you will know you found your professional home.
And our vision.
To achieve amazing professional and personal development so that Keller Williams Self-Aid remains the agency of choice.
Absolutely. Give yourself a round of applause. Absolutely. You know, very important. It's part of the core of our company, right? Is to make sure that we acknowledge our missions, our belief, and obviously your vision. Well, awesome stuff. Okay, let's continue. Next slide. All right, so termite, the termite guide, I believe he's not here, so let's go ahead and skip this one for now. But we want to thank the termite guy for providing us with lunch. Lunch is a little behind, but rest assured, we will definitely have something for you. Okay, and I'm hoping it's not. I can't promise you. I cannot promise you. It's too much. But that's what you've got here. What's got here? Oh, I shut my own sound. It is what it is. But again, you know, we definitely are grateful to our affiliates for definitely providing us with, you know, the relationships we have, but more so, you know, to be a support to our agents as well. So we'll bring Andrew in a few. So let's go ahead and continue. Next slide, please. All right, are you guys ready? This Friday, the pancake breakfast, 9:30. For some reason, I thought it was going to be at 10 o'clock. So 9:30 to 10:45, we will have our pancake event. This is our quarterly thing. Love to see all of you here. Okay, who does not love pancakes? All right, I love pancakes. Rosie? Really? Oh, wow. That means more for us. Yeah, absolutely. Well, don't worry. We have oatmeal cakes. I've never had oatmeal pancakes. So that's something that I definitely need to do. Okay. So again, this Friday, love to see you here, 9:30. Be here bright and early. It's a great event. Myself and the rest of the staff will be flipping pancakes and giving back to the agents. So again, Friday, 9:30, which is 2 days from now. Okay. Next slide. All right. Mega Camp. Honest. Yeah, we all heard of it. I've been hearing it for 8 years. So it's a great event for all of us to, who's going to Mega Camp? Okay, Ed is going. Anyone else? I know we have a large group going from the South Bay office. Now, if you are planning to go, please let us know so we can add you to the WhatsApp account. There's a lot of back and forth information being provided, and we would love for you to be part of our dinner as well, which will be the company dinner. So if you have not registered for Mega Camp, it's a great opportunity. It's in Austin, Texas, obviously. The flight is what, about 2.5 hours at that?
If that, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like going to Vegas. Great place to be.
Humidity is about the same too this time of year.
It is, yeah, the community. But there's a lot to explore outside of the Mega Camp. There's so many things you can do as well, and just the environment itself, right? After hours, there's all kinds of fun stuff to do. There's what we call 6th Street.
Yep.
Where myself, Ed, and Mary. Just a quick story. The first time ever jumping on a scooter, and I had such a blast, guys. Oh my gosh! I mean, I was going 100 miles, and I kept looking behind me. I couldn't find Ed or Mary. It's like, where are these? How come they're not catching up to me? So, yeah, that's one of my little things that I'm going to be doing is jumping on that scooter and just going crazy out in downtown Austin. So 100% agent focused content. strategies for thriving in any market, network with some of the top agents, and just to hear Gary Keller in person, Mark King, Jason Abram, and the rest of the leadership. It's just going to be a mind blowing. I know Michelle, I'm not sure if Michelle Brown is here. She is super excited to be heading out there as well. Rural potential referrals. Yes, the immense of opportunities to rub elbows. This is where you want to bring your stack of business cards, right? And start, and they also give you a name badge as well, where you can scan each other's information and it intertwines with your contact information. It's just great to network. People from all over the country come to this event. And all Gary, all day. So what better than that, right? It's Gary Keller. So if, and I believe it's also going to be streamlined too. I'm not sure if it's going to be live. I think it's going to be recorded. So if you're interested in just doing the Zoom aspect of it, the experience, which is not the same, but you'll still be able to provide a whole lot of information on Nick account. So any questions regarding the event? Oh, okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Next slide. All right, we have our KW commercial. This is going to be our lender updates. Our own and beloved David Ashar will be hosting this Tuesday, August 23rd, from 1 o'clock to 2 p.m. If you haven't reached out to David, David is a commercial agent, understands the ins and outs. I know we've given him so many referrals from agents inquiring of specific questions in relations to commercial. Wealth of knowledge, understands, and he's going to be hosting this event on Tuesday, August 23rd. So love to see you. It's going to be on Zoom. I know his office is out in the west side, so love to have him one of these days here in person so you can actually meet and greet with David. Such a fun guy. He is one that goes 100 miles. When you're talking to him literally on the phone, Simon, just wait a minute. He has like 4 people on conference calls. It's bonkers on how much he has going on. You know, every time he never fails. It's not just me and him, it's me and 20 other people on a conversation. It's the funniest thing, but that's just the way he functions in the us. So if you ever need any type of commercial questions, the go-to person is one of our agents, David Ashar. So, yeah. Oh, next slide. All right, Chris Rivera up giving us some info. Has a lot of great meats and potatoes. So let's give Chris a round of applause.
Can you guys hear me? And Natalie is gonna do the slide presentation for me. So I did a training last Friday. I got a lot of positive feedback. It was great stuff for the agents. So I really wanted to do a condensed one today for you guys for about 10 minutes. Just go over it really quick so you can see it. But it's really designed for you guys to get people in here next Saturday. There's already a slew of people that signed up so far. We've got, I think, about 10 people so far RSVP'd, and we're still a week and a half away. We're having a first-time homebuyer seminar next Saturday. It's going to be 11 o'clock. Actually, that's the training. That was last week. So it's at 10:30. Next slide, Natalie. But it should be it should be saying 10:30 next Saturday here, right? It's going to be a seminar about down payment assistance program. So, I'll wait for that to catch us up. Okay, here it is. So it's right in here, 10:30. We are going to have a continental breakfast for people. That's why I want to get a head count so we know how much to bring. But it's a really good event when we all bring someone, because the people who come here get to see like 30 plus people. They just feel like they're at a live event. Like this is a really big thing. So Natalie, let's go to the presentation. Okay, perfect. So this is a down payment assistance program. We actually have 2 that I'm going to show you today. You guys will have questions. If you do, just hold until the end, because I have a lot of slides that I just want to go through real fast. All right, go ahead, Natalie. Next slide. There we go. So the first thing I want to point out is this program is going to be For conventional FHA or VA, it doesn't matter. We pick the loan program once we see the borrower's FICO scores are qualifying and what they're able to do. The conforming loan limits here are 647,200 and then high balance 97,800. That's in the LA County because we're in a high cost area. This is important information for you to know because we pick the program. The down payment assistance program is really just supplement. All we're going to do is put that on top of the program. Next slide, please.
So Chris, 970 is our conforming loan limit? Thank you.
And we can do this program all the way up to that loan amount, as long as they qualify. So here's really, it's weird how it comes out here, but anyway, here's Kalahapa. This is the first program that we do. We are a direct lender with them. We do everything. We process it, we underwrite it, we approve it, then we send it to the state for them to check the income limits, and then we bring it back to us, and then we fund the file. It's got to be a first-time home buyer, owner occupied only. Depends on their FICO score, how high we will go with their debt to income ratio. 640 and above, they need 640 plus to be able to get into the program. We'll go to 45 back in. If they have over 700, we'll allow it to go to 50%. LA County does have an income limit of 180,000. That's pretty darn high. It's all county specific here in LA, I'm sorry, in California. So it depends on where they're buying. Whatever county they're buying, that's the limit we have to go to. I have a bigger packet. If anyone wants this information, just come see me or email me and I can give you more information.
Really quick, is it first time home buyer somebody that hasn't bought in the last 3 years?
No, it's actually, well, that's part of it. It's someone who hasn't had ownership interest in their primary residence
In the last
in the last 3 years. That's key because they can own something in Tennessee, moved here and have lived here for 3.5 years. They are a first time home buyer, even though they still own the property in Tennessee. It's a rental, right? So it's primary residence in the last 3 years. All right.
Have to be Tennessee, Chris.
No, it could be Arkansas, it could be any state. All right. They do have home buyer education required. They can go online to get that. And a 1-year home warranty is required as well. Natalie, next slide. All right. So as you can see, here's the down payment terms. Depending on the program, conventional FHA, VA, they set how much they're going to give us. Now, this is what we call a silent second, because the money they get is either going to be a second or a third, but it's silent because they make no monthly payments ever. They pay it back whenever they sell it, refinance, or at the end of the 30-year term, right? So how does it work? So whatever they get, they have to pay 1% simple interest on that monies they get, but they pay it whenever they sell it, refinance, or at the end of the term. So let's give you an example. Let's say we do an FHA loan and we're in a sale price of 800,000. They're going to get 3.5%. They're going to get 28 grand from the state. It's written at 1%. That's only $280 a year in interest. That's only $23 a month in interest that they'll pay. And they pay as they go. So in 5 years, all they're paying is $1,400 back to the state, plus the money they got, the original 28,000, right? So it's a silent second again, no monthly payments, and they only pay back 1% simple interest whenever they sell it. We're also going to couple that with additional funds called the ZIP program. It's a zero interest program, silent third. They make no monthly payments and no interest ever accrues on it. They just have to give the money back whenever they sell, refinance, or at the end of the term. All right, next slide.
Are those ever forgiven at all?
No.
After the property never sells? I mean, property.
Then it's the end of the term. So then it's 30 years,
Oh.
somewhere out there. Then they'll make you pay it at that point. Plus, at that point, you paid off the loan, so it's free and clear, and you've got a lot of equity in your house, right? All right, we offer another one. This one is another state program. These programs have unlimited funds. Both programs have been around for a long time, and they haven't been utilized over the last several years because, well, you couldn't get anyone approved, right? Well, the funds are there. There's a ton of funds. Don't worry about getting in escrow and it being depleted. There will be funds there. This is another state program. Does not require them to be a first-time home buyer. So the first one we're going to go to is Kalahapa, and if it doesn't, then we're going to go here. It's owner occupied, 1 to 4 units. Will allow non-accredited co-signers on an FHA loan. So if they can't qualify, we get a co-signer, then we're going to switch over to this program because it will allow it. And we'll also go up to max 55 DTI of this, which is debt to income ratio, as long as we get DU approval. As long as we get the DU approval, we're good. They do have to have a 640 FICO. The only thing knock on this one is they're only gonna go to the national limit of 647,200. They don't care we're in a high cost area, they will let us go higher. Okay, next slide.
So I can buy that house in Tennessee.
No,
It has to be,
it's gotta be in California, but they can own in Tennessee. That's okay.
or Arkansas,
Or
Or-
yeah.
all right, so here's for the Golden State Finance Authority, that's what that stands for. They'll do the same max loan amounts on all three conventional FHA VA loans, right? But what they're going to do is give 5.5% to the buyer to do what they want, right? Which is going to be for the down payment and closing costs. The first 3.5% is a silent second, which means no monthly payments ever made, right? But this one is zero interest and they never make any payment, but all they paid back to the state is monies they got. But that's only the first 3.5%. The other 2% that make up the 5.5 is a gift. I guess that's your forgivable part. You don't have to pay it back. You just get it. It's actually a gift. So they're only going to put a first and second on the property. Yes,
It's a gift.
it's a gift.
No, it's a gift.
It's a
I
gift.
mean, I don't get.
And you don't have to own property in Tennessee. They'll still give it to you in the form of a
However, you
gift.
do have to own property in Arkansas, and it'll be a gift.
So you can see this is not a bad option, but the problem is the loan amount, right? But it's not designed for the beach areas. This is gonna be your inner place, Gardena, Compton, Carson. There's other places out there that these programs will work all day long. The shift is happening. It already happened, right? You guys know this, the properties are sitting longer. The sellers are going to be willing to entertain offers like this because they want to sell their property, right? And if you can double end them, this is a great program to get your buyer in there because now you're in complete control of the entire transaction. The good thing is there's no income limits on this, right? So we can use a non-occupant co-borrower. We can take them up to a 55 DTI to get it approved. And there's no income limits. Up to 5.5% they get, 2% is a gift, right? Okay, now on the next slide. All right, so I wanted to real quick show you guys FHA loans so you guys get to the examples I'm going to show you. So this is the way a normal FHA loan works, right? Let's say it's a sale price of 800,000. The minimum down is 3.5%. That's 28 grand. So your base loan amount is 772. Now from there, HUD, which is FHA, is going to charge you an upfront MIP. It's 1.75% of the base loan amount, and that's 13,510. The borrower has the option; they can either pay it like a closing cost, like right there at the time of close, or they can finance it into the loan. I've done hundreds of FHA loans. I think only one person in my entire career has paid this upfront. They all finance this into the loan. So their total loan amount is 785,510. That's important to know because on the slides, you'll say, well, how come that loan amount is higher than my base loan amount, right? So the total loan amount is 785,510. So you can see the examples. Now, next slide.
Chris, what's the typical rate on a loan like that?
Next slide.
Okay.
Perfect. Good question. All right. So let me show you the actual program and what it looks like. I've got two sides. This side is the program. This side over here is the normal FHA loan. So as we do a CalHFA, they set all the parameters. We don't do anything. They govern the pricing, they govern the qualifying guidelines, everything. The underwrite, they tell us what we have to do. So this is a current CalHFA program with a zip. It's written, well, I'll start at the top. Sale price 800,000. The loan amount is 785,510 because we financed the upfront MIP. It's written at 5.75. The APR is 6.913, and I'm going to say they have a 700 FICO score, so I can maximize my DTI up to 50. Right? Their payment is 4584. MIP, which is PMI, is 671. Taxes 833. Insurance 100. Total is 6188 out the door each month. That's what they pay. Now let's look at the closing costs. The down payment is $28,000. Your closing costs are about 20 grand. You got to set up an inbound account of 10,005. So the borrower needs a total of 58,500. If the state is going to give them $28,000, they're going to give them a ZIP program of 15,710. This borrower only needs less than $15,000 to buy an $800,000 home. It's crazy, right?
Wow.
So the rule of thumb is 2%. the borrower has to have at least 2% of their own funds or on their side, right? So it works on any sale price. If they're buying 650, they need about 13,000, a little less than that, right? So just remember 2%. Of this borrower right here, if they have no debt, they only need to make 150 grand household. If they make 180, they can have this loan plus about $1,000 a month of debt and still qualify. So let's look at a normal FHA loan. So they didn't want to do this. This is what they're going to get with an FHA loan. Current market's at 5%. So their payment is $58.21. There's only a $360 difference in monthly payment. But look at the cash to close. They have to come in with what, $34,000 more thereabouts,
yeah.
right? For $360 a month. It's almost a no-brainer. Even if they have the funds, they still, when they see this option, might want to do it just simply because they get to hold on to that cash so they can do whatever renovations or remodeling they want to do, right? So this is the normal CalHOPA program. Most people are going to steer into this. There's a lot of offshoots that we can do with this for other MCC programs and other stuff. I don't want to over inundate the clients that come next Saturday with a lot of information. I want to show them the meat and potatoes so they know that this really exists and it really will work and what it looks like. So this is the CalHOPA program. This is exactly what I'm going to be going through next Saturday. Go ahead, Natalie, next slide. I also want to show you the Golden State. So here's the Golden State one. Again, they regulate all the terms for us, right? So their going rate's higher, 6.25. They're only going to go to 647 as the loan amount. So I had to lower the sale price to 670. 670 sale price. Their total payment, including taxes and insurance, is $5,300. Here's their cash to close. Down payment $23,450. Same closing costs, same impounds. Totally you need $53,950. The state's going to give them $35,560, of which remember 2% of that is forgivable, right? Or gift, I guess we should say. But the total cash to close is $18,390. This program allowed them not to have to be a first-time home
Is
buyer.
there a prepayment penalty if you agree?
No prepayment penalty.
Buy like-
You could refinance in 2 months if you've got the equity position.
Okay.
Absolutely. Right.
I
So
just-
this is really designed, it's a good question because this is designed to get people to buy houses, right? And they're going to appreciate it. And at some point in time, they're going to be able to refinance and take advantage of the lower rates somewhere out in the future. And that payment comes down. But they still, remember, when they have to repay this is when they sell, refinance, so we'll have to pay it or at the end of the term, right? But with this program, the borrower only has to come in with $18,390, but it allowed them to have a cosigner, right? They could have more debt, so their DTI was over 50%, and they didn't have to be a first-time home buyer, right? They just have to qualify.
Sounds like a negative balance.
No,
It's not,
it's not.
it's not.
This is a 30-year fix. So standard program, again, $43,000 compared to $18,000. You can see both of these programs will get your clients into a home. Again, this is not for every place. We get it. It's Gardena, Carson, Compton, East, right? But there's a lot of pockets out there that this program is great for. Natalie, next slide. Which brings me back to this, right? We have a seminar here next Saturday. Right now, we've got about 10 plus people that are signed up that I know about. It's the opportunity for you guys to get a flyer. If you guys email me or Natalie, she'll get your own flyer with your contact information on it. So you can get it out to your sphere. You can talk to people. You all know people who want to buy that don't have cash. You do. You've talked to them time and time again. This is the information they want. They want to know about these down payment assistance programs. So do them a favor, bring them next Saturday. We're going to have a continental breakfast for them. So they'll get fed twice, right? We'll feed them with food and then with knowledge. But I want them to walk out of here feeling good that they can in fact buy and how much it's going to take. I'm also going to be pushing to get them pre-approved for you guys. So it's not just about giving them information, but let's get them into buying mode. So we get all of their documentation, we make sure that they're pre-approved. And so when you're getting out there, you can get these programs accepted by the seller. Time, they're about the same time. We do anticipate that growing though, in terms of close escrow period. And the reason why is because right now these programs, they've got a good funnel of loans that have come in, but they told us at the training, that's today. These programs are starting to take off because people are now getting their offers accepted. So what's going to happen is we're going to see more and more loans in the pipeline statewide, right? So turn times will kind of go up. I just want to throw that out to you. So usually an escrow period before when I did these were about 45 days. That's probably the max you'll ever see. But right now we can still close into 30 days because there's limited loans in the system. But once we get up and running, because it is open to all state. It's not just for LA County, it's every county in the state. So it's good information. I hope you guys, got something out of today. You guys, got something where you can say, hey, I got a client that I know wants to buy. They just don't have any cash. I'll get them the cash.
By the way, Chris, Holland is the one to get the flyer from, not Natalie.
Sorry.
That's okay. I just texted her and she said, I'll let home. Because I need one of those
All right.
in my database.
Yeah.
How much are the funds before they run out of it?
Only Bob,
They don't have a limit.
only Bob.
They don't have a limit on the funds. Yeah, this is state funded. They've got millions and millions of dollars for this program. It does not go away. This program, the Cal Alpha program, has been around since the mid-90s. We used to call it Chapel way back when.
Yeah,
It's the same
remember, early 2000s.
Yeah, so it's the same program. It doesn't go away. It's state funds. But they've got a surplus of funds right now because they haven't been able to give them away over the last several years.
Yeah, because of the market, that would have not have flown in the previous market.
But it will today.
Yep,
Any
and
other questions?
I do.
Yeah.
This is also for realtors too, right? Who want
Oh,
to
yeah,
get it.
absolutely.
So it's not just for your clients, but also take advantage of it too as well, guys. If you are.
Well, maybe not Lauren.
Not Lauren. No.
Maybe not.
Because she owns property, she doesn't own property.
She doesn't own
in
property.
Right,
Yeah,
It's Cowboys.
yeah. Probably Alabama. Isn't it? All right. Any other questions? All right, guys, that's it.
All right.
All right, so before we continue, I want to do two announcements. One, I have a guest all the way from Bakersfield. Carlos, stand up real quick, introduce yourself. This is Carlos Horton from Bakersfield. Welcome, Carlos. And then next slide. It's Mr. Bob O'Loughlin's official birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. Bob.
Thank you.
I say we sing to him, right? I mean, it is his birthday. All right.
Solo from Patricia.
Who's a good singer? Maybe.
I am. Oh, wait.
You're the birthday boy.
Okay.
So repeat after me in the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bob. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
21 now?
22.
22.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. 22, guys. All right, next slide, please.
Times 3-ish.
I expect that from
All right,
Yeah, that won't
we
happen.
have, we want to thank our sponsor, the Termite Guy. Let's bring them in here and give us a quick rundown. What's up, man? How are you? Good to see you again. What's up? How you doing?
Brought some empanadas for you guys, so when you guys are ready.
Empanadas.
You're ready to roll.
Yeah. You're talking our language now.
There you go. So I want to give a quick elaboration about our company. My name's Andre. I'm the termite inspector in LA County. This is also Gilbert. He pretty much takes up the overflow. I've been licensed for about 10 years in the industry. I've pretty much seen everything. Nothing has changed. I mean, I've seen a lot of familiar faces I use from you guys. What makes us different around other companies is we do give out 24-hour turnaround reports. That's huge. So whenever you guys call within 24 hours, we get your report out. We do warranty our fumigations for 5 years. Most companies go 2 or 3. So anything happens within if you're on the buyer side, we'll warranty for 5 years. If anything happens, we'll come back and take care of whatever necessary. We are licensed general contractors, and so any general contract work we can take care of. We do have an in-house cutter, so anything customized, we go in and I get the wood custom from someone inside our office. One thing we do is everything we change out, we do prime and paint. So a lot of times if you have a house that we're switching wood, we just only just regular lumber on there. And if you could provide the paint, we'll slap right on and put it up. So pretty much like nothing was there. Any questions you guys have in regards to anything? So we're gonna pass a little pamphlets to you guys. That has our key tag, keychain, pin, the whole yards. My business card is gonna be on there, so you can say my number, send me or Gilbert a text. If you have anything in the area, we'll glad to help you out.
I do have a question for you. What's the difference between section 1 and section 2?
All right, so section 1 is active infestation. So anything that's active, termites, fungus damage, all that stuff. Section 2 is I always look at it as in a lot of things the home inspector will call out. So something that's future termite, water leak under your house is considered section 2, debris that's going to create subterranean termites is under section 2. Anything future issues that's going to create a section 1 problem that's usually what you see. And then the section 3 is inaccessible areas.
Oh, there's a section 3 too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like say in the attic or sub area is considered a section 3 item.
Oh, that used to be section 2, right?
No, inaccessible areas,
Oh,
section 3.
Audrey, what is your inspection run?
Normally, if it's in South Bay, not inside the LA County area, it's usually free. We charge for a clearance. So just in case you guys have condos, or if it's clear, it's $125. Like meaning there's no termites.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
that's really
Okay.
for the buyer
Sure,
side,
yeah.
because obviously whoever comes, they want a warranty on.
Got it. She'll do a free inspection, give us the quote.
Yeah, if there's active infestation, we don't charge. It's just
Perfect.
an inspection.
How often do you recommend have a termite on, let's say house or?
So I mean, it all depends, especially houses out here. You very have higher active infestation. Manhattan Beach, we down the beaches. I mean, our state bird is the termite.
Yeah, no doubt, right?
So I always recommend between, if someone buys a house, between 3 to 5 years first inspection, and then so and so. So every 3 years, probably recommended in our field.
Any other questions? Very good. Well,
All
we
right.
definitely appreciate you coming. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
for
no
the
worries. Thank you, guys.
empanadas.
Yeah.
It's a different variety.
Yeah, so I think I have the big box is all beef. I don't know, I'm more of a beef person. You have a smaller box of chicken, and then if you guys don't like any of that stuff, we have spinach and cheese.
All right.
All right.
Okay, next slide. All right, Ed Morel is talking to us about chef.
Cool. Hey, before we talk about shit, can I talk about Mega Camp and how to create a referral network out of there?
Yes.
Because we're talking about bringing business cards and all that, and it's something I'm passionate about. I one time years ago, so I was at Mega Camp, 2010, and well, I was trading business cards with somebody, and then they followed up with me and sent me a handwritten note card to my office. So like a week later, I got a handwritten note card. And let me tell you about this, because I think this is a really great way of building a referral network around the country. And it's an easy way to like get extra deals in your business without a whole lot of work. And it's fun to just have a network of people around the country that you can pass business back and forth to. So anyways, this is what he did with me. And then he kind of taught me like beyond, like I kept asking questions, they kind of told me how to run it. But so you would meet people, right? And don't just, like, I remember being at some of these events and you're, in the elevator or somebody, they're like, oh, you're with Keller Williams, here's my business card. And like, you're probably, when you get home, the first thing you do is like empty out your satchel of all business cards right into the trash, right? I mean, few of us are the ones who like actually have them in. What you would do is like, yeah, you'd start up a conversation with people, right? Like myself, and we were talking, you'd ask me how the market is, and We talked for a little bit. He asked me a little about myself, my business. So he'd send a follow-up card with a business card, right? You can find them in Command MC, and look them up and make them a referral partner in the referral section of Command. You guys know how to do that? Really cool. Like, it's a cool feature of Command. But then he would like stay in touch with me. Like, every quarter, he'd either call me or send me something. Once, like at holiday time, he'd send me a gift, right? Like, this is just somebody I met for like, for like an hour or something. Maybe just something small, with a Starbucks card or something, but it's just cool, like, and then the following year, he was like, hey, just so you know, I'm hosting my own little network thing together. If you're gonna be at Mega Camp, I'm hosting a lunch. It's $5 a head. And what we do is we're all gonna meet up at whatever restaurant. And then at that restaurant, we're all gonna take turns and go around, talk about what's going on in our market and exchange cards with everybody. So you get to have your own little referral network. And he was the hub of all of this. And that was just I thought it was just brilliant. And I tried, I kind of moved on since then. I'm in the role I'm in now, but that's something that I would be doing if I were in your shoes. I thought that was really brilliant. So hope that's helpful. Yeah. Anyway, back to the shift. We're kind of wrapping up the book here. The couple tactics I'll talk about today. Tactic number 8 is stand out from the competition, seller staging strategy. So, a year ago, the house could be like falling apart, covered with termites, things falling apart, and they'll still probably go over list price because there was just nothing out there, right? As stuff starts to linger on the market, it tends to typically be those properties that aren't fixed up, right? So, what is the solution? Well, obviously, like, just be more cognizant of that, and tell your seller that, and like, you got to explain that to them. Gary talks about, just what staging is, how to go about it. So you might want to refer to this book. But on this point, I will also tell you that if you guys haven't used the concierge service, I've used it on, it's been a while, but I used it like I guess about a year and a half ago now on a probate sale I had. There's a probate, no one wants to put any money into it, but we had to make certain repairs. And so we brought in Keller Concierge powered by Zoom Casa, and they were awesome. They were so cool and easy to deal with. And the price, I was kind of the guinea pig for our KW Larson office at the time. So I kind of like was really kept an eye on what they were charging and everything. And I'll tell you, it was very much in line with market prices. And several other people from that office confirmed that. So it doesn't really cost anything. And you can they'll even send a designer out to the property, contractor / designer, depending what you're doing. And they'll walk the property with you and your buyer. And they will they'll give you a line item list of things they recommend doing to the property. And it's up to your client. They can decide, yes, no, and they'll do all of it. And they'll act as the contractor on the job. And it is such an advantage that we've got over our competition. Right? Has anybody here used the concierge? Am I the only one?
Sammy and Brian.
Yeah. Are they here? Sammy, have you used the concierge? Yeah, keep it here. We're just talking about because one of the shift strategies is all about staging properties. Did your clients have a good experience with it? Was it favorable?
Yeah, we didn't stage, but we did home prep.
Yeah, right. So there you go. I mean, there's 2 of us that I will tell you, I was surprised at how seamless it was when I did it. I don't know, but was it kind of the same with you?
Super easy.
Yeah, super easy. They were super, they take on all the liability of bill collection. Like, because I get this question all the time. What if my clients do like $10,000 worth of repairs and then they decide, oh my God, I love it. Why didn't we ever do this before? This is so good. We don't want to sell anymore. Well, you don't lose out on any of the repair costs. That's the concierge problem. That doesn't affect you and your commission in any way. Any questions about staging properties and that kind of stuff? Any comments, ahas? What's everyone seeing out there as far as like the need to fix up properties now versus 6 months ago? Okay, it's overwhelming, the noise in here when you guys are all speaking at the same time.
Not all at once, please.
What do we got? Who's seeing it? Like, are you guys seeing that?
Go sell for more.
Sell for more and price sell faster too, right? And that's exaggerated more now than it was 6 months ago. Are you guys seeing that? Is that an amen? Or
Too early to tell.
too early to tell? Anybody else?
I see more telecommunication.
Any other comments? Should we call it a day? Was that helpful? Going over, you know, this couple items?
You bet.
All right, cool. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Ed.
One thing I do want to add to what Ed was saying about referrals is, yeah, it's good to pass out business cards, but it's more important to collect business cards. Okay, it's good to pass, but it's good to also, for the purpose of referral, as Ed was saying, to collect business cards and you stay in contact with these agents from outside of your area. So just a tidbit, I learned that from Marie Hoffman from the Hunt and Murphy. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, go out there and start collecting up business cards. So just food for thought. All right, next slide, please. From Rose. Oh, that time. Broker update. Next slide, please. That does not look like me, by the way.
Yeah, that guy's way more handsome.
Okay. That's why I'm looking at that, yeah, and that's why I'm looking at my sleeves too. Hey, Nat, can you blow it up a little bit more? I wanted to touch base on the importance, and I'm gonna reflect back and forth with Steve on this. You know, the timelines of events. This is straight out from the California Association of Realtors. And if you can go up a little bit on that, the importance and understanding of the DAA and the DBC, okay? So reminders, calendar days, okay, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Calendar days includes Monday through Sunday, okay? After, so DEA, days after acceptance. DBC is days before close of escrow. Okay, so the timelines of events when it comes to contingencies of removal, extensions of contingency, or extensions of close of escrow. It also includes, you know, contingencies such as physical inspection, right? Appraisal contingencies, seller disclosures. And most important, as Chris, you know, loan contingency, right? But that also gives you a parameter. It doesn't matter who you represent, if it's the buyer or the seller, is that the seller may also have contingencies in place as well, that if the buyer sends out a notice to perform, then it's putting notice to the seller, no difference than what we as a listing agent would be doing so to the buyer's agent. Hey, it's that time frame to do so. So go up, go down a little bit, Nat. I'm sorry. Down. Okay, right there. So buyers 3 days, right? 3 days after acceptance. This is when the executed purchase agreement is in place, right? Meaning the buyer and the seller, after submission of a purchase agreement, back and forth with counter offers, buyer counter offer, seller counter offer, multiple counter offers, whatever the case. Once we have an executed acceptance, very important acceptance, right? Then this is when the time frame starts. Buyer qualifications, pre-approvals, fully underwritten pre-approvals, buyer proof of down payment, buyer's deposit to escrow within 3 business. Yes, sir.
Just so everyone's aware, the contract default, every days in the contract is calendar days with the exception of the deposit. The deposit is calendar days. So, but everything else in the contract, the
Business days.
to calendar, to calendar days other than the deposit.
Correct.
The deposit is business days.
Correct.
Okay, so at that point, so you don't have to remember anything else other than the deposit is business.
Yeah,
And Simon, when is day 1 of that 3-day period?
the day after. So today, if we have the acceptance, right? If everything is alignment and the buyer and the seller come to an agreement in the acceptance, today would be considered 0 days of that acceptance. So the first day of a 30-day escrow, the first day of a 17-day contingency removal starts the following day. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. So again, everything is of urgency, okay? Because, you know, who is relying on your expertise?
Fire and seller.
Buyer and seller, yeah, to navigate that process, right? And they're relying on you to navigate this process with it. So if you are the listing agent, you want to make sure that the buyer is on track and you're in constant communications with the buyer's agent, right? Make sure that they're following the timeline of events. This is why having a transaction coordinator, right, a TC involved, so that way they can give you what's called a timeline of events. When the buyer needs to release this, when the time to close, and so on and so forth, right? So it's very important. All right, up a little bit, and also buyer's evidence, enact the representative capacity, seller requests to pay for fees, and so on and so forth. So 7 days after acceptance, seller disclosures and reports to the buyer. So now the tables are turned, right? Where now the buyer, if they do not receive it by the 7 days, the buyer can now send what's called a notice to perform. You know, and if the buyer wants to back out of this deal because, you know, the seller is not cooperating with the terms of the agreement, then this is an opportunity to say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, we're putting you on notice. Here's the notice to perform. You got 48 days to 48 hours to perform, not 48 days, 48 hours to perform. Otherwise, we have the right to cancel. Okay, so seller notice of if property located in a common interest development or HOA, delivery of preliminary reports, the title reports, seller disclosures of any other items transfer or lease, such as what could be a lease?
Solar.
Solar panels, what else? Security, what else? Maybe water filter as well. Okay. And then obviously the substitute form, which is the QS to come from title or escrow. Now the 17 days, this is the one that we constantly hear, 17 days. In the new purchase agreement, correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, everything is all pretty much 17 days, including loan contingency with the new contract. 17 days, whereas before it used to be what?
21 days.
21 days. Yeah, now it's 17 days. Yes, sir.
The default in the contract,
That's the default, yes.
Correct.
remember, any of those contingency periods can be changed.
Absolutely.
Okay, and agreed to by mutual agreement.
Yeah, and when can those changes happen?
Anytime with mutual agreement.
Yeah, it could be in the beginning, it could be in the during, and it could be as we get closer to close the deal. It can be modified as long as we have what?
Mutual
Mutual agreement. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. All right. I'm glad I'm having this conversation and you guys are awesome. So someone has been teaching you well. All right, scroll up a little bit more, 17 days, buyer go down a little bit. Buyer's remove of appraisal disclosures, inspections, and title contingencies. Buyer to return signed statutory disclosures, okay? This means that, it's back like tennis, right? Or ping pong, making sure that everyone's in alignment, because what is the ultimate goal here, folks? Close the deal, right? So that way the buyer can get their home, the seller can get the proceeds and sell their home, but more so the most important aspect of all this is what? Get paid a commission. Absolutely. Yes. Okay. Buyer's removal of loan, and then 15 days, earliest time that the seller may give buyer a notice to perform for failure to remove contingencies within 17 days. This is a tricky one. If you don't understand, what the heck does this mean? Okay. No, go right ahead.
Rhetorical. It means that you can submit the notice to perform 48 hours before the due date, regardless of when that due date is. So if you change the inspection period for 10 days and you represent the seller and you're kind of worried about it, you can give them the notice to perform in 8 days. You'll probably annoy some people by doing that, but you can do that.
Yeah, you probably will rub someone the wrong way if you're sending a notice to perform 2 days prior to that 17 days. But the contract clearly states that you can do so. Because here's what we see a lot happen. On the 17th day, that's when they'll send that notice to perform. That gives the buyer 2 additional days, right? 2 additional days to release that as a condition. Whereas you're proactive in your engagement, if you do it 2 days prior, on the 17th day, the buyer has to release that as a condition, otherwise the seller has a right to cancel. Now, when is the expiration of that contingency removal end?
Expiration.
Yeah, it's passive.
Expiration of the cancellation.
Oh, it's not passive. It's an
No, it's not passive.
You have to sign it.
What's the time frame?
For
That
what?
once the seller can release that as a cancellation, the seller has the right to cancel. What's the time frame?
They have 48 hours.
So yeah, exactly. So if they have 48 hours, when can the seller officially say, I'm canceling?
The day after that.
I understand that, but what's the time frame?
Anytime up until they do the event that was not, that they didn't perform on.
24
Okay.
hours?
No. Okay, let me clarify this, okay? Maybe I'm not coming across correctly, okay? So once a seller sends the notice to release, right, the notice to perform,
Right.
okay? That's 48 hours, right? When is that time where the seller can say, okay, I can now officially cancel? Yes, it's 48 hours, but what time is that?
Midnight.
Okay. No, it's not midnight,
5 o'clock p.m.,
not 5 o'clock.
The next week?
No,
8 a.m.
you guys want the answer?
Yeah.
11:59 p.m.
No.
11:59 p.m. That's when you can officially, so if you're gonna wait, you gotta wait till almost 1 minute before midnight to officially send a cancellation after giving the notice to perform.
Except if that falls on a Saturday or Sunday or holiday.
Yeah, you're jumping the gun, but yeah, if a contingency falls obviously on a Saturday, on a Sunday, or a holiday, then it ultimately reverts to the next calendar day or business day. So if a holiday is a Monday, right, then ultimately falls on the following day, which is Tuesday.
Does that include with the notice to perform, like if the, say, request for repairs is due on a
That's
Friday?
invalid. That's invalid. So even if they send you a notice to perform and a contingency falls on the weekend, you can argue the fact that it falls on that, and you can relate the paragraph that says that the buyer has the extended time frame.
You misunderstand me. If the due date is on a Friday and they didn't perform and you give them the notice to perform on a Friday, which would mean Sundays, would be 48 hours.
And you can,
Does that extend to Monday?
no, because the contingency did not fall on the weekend
Got
or holiday.
Cool.
So if it falls on a Friday, then yeah, you can send a notice to perform on Sunday, 11:59 p.m. You can cancel with that buyer. Make sense? All right. So everyone clear on this, yes, sir.
I want to just also remind the folks back on disclosures dealing with the TDS, the transfer disclosure statement.
Mhm.
Of all the disclosure forms that your seller is supposed to provide the buyer, the one that you as the listing agent really need to pay attention to is that transfer disclosure statement being issued. Because if you happen to represent a buyer who wants a contractual out, and if you got a lazy seller or listing agent who didn't provide a buyer with that transfer disclosure statement until the 11th hour, a buyer can back out of the sale for non-approval of the transfer disclosure statement upon 48 hours of receipt of that document. Okay, so at that point, if you're the listing agent, you happen to give disclosures or your TC gave disclosures, but it didn't include the TDS. And all of a sudden now, day before funding, all of a sudden you realize, we didn't give the TDS. You provide the TDS to the buyer, and the buyer now says, I don't approve. They're able to back out penalty free.
Yeah, and that's
Okay,
it.
penalty free. So listing agents, when you're a listing agent, you gotta make sure that that transfer disclosure statement has been submitted as part of the disclosure.
100%. And with that also being said, even if the buyer has released all contingencies, any and all contingency that can jeopardize the buyer's deposit, if the buyer gets additional material facts or any additional disclosure, the buyer has 5 additional days to review and inspect and ultimately make a decision. You know what, after reviewing this report or knowing this issue, I decided to withdraw, cancel. There's really not much we can do. Now, the seller and buyer obviously may have a dispute over this, and this is why they signed the liquidated damage provision on the contract, right? That it says that, you know, you're gonna try to mediate it. And if we cannot mediate it, we can ultimately escalate it to an arbitration as well, right? And that's just another topic that'll take me another hour, right, Steve? All right, Nat, scroll up a little bit, please. So 5 days before close. Now this is DBC, right? Seller to complete repairs, right? So if the buyer's requesting any type of request, right, they must be done prior to close of escrow. It says 5 days. That also includes, you know, your final walkthrough, which is the buyers to conduct a final walkthrough of condition within 5 days before close of escrow. So again, the importance of understanding timelines, folks, crucial, because this can alter your position, but more so, it can also collapse your transaction, and no one wants to start over again, right? So you want to make sure that you're in constant communications and navigations on this. Seller to remove tenants that are not authorized to stay after close of escrow. If there's an agreement that the buyer and the seller agree to have someone vacate the property at close of escrow, you want to make sure as the buyer's agent and the buyer is aware that that person has vacated or started the initial of vacating the property. Because if the agreement is property will be delivered vacant and there's still people there, what should you do? Okay, yeah, you don't close, but you want to bring it to the broker's attention so we can now start having dialogue and conversation, right? That's really, and then if we have to extend the close of escrow, right? Because that opens up another parameter of worms if we close with the tenant in possession, because there's no guarantee that the tenant is going to vacate now. What if they don't? And this is a owner occupied offer, you know, moving into the property. Yes, sir.
And that is why if you represent a buyer and you want to make sure if it's a tenant occupied property, you actually write it in as the closing of this escrow is subject to, and using the word subject to, meaning contingent upon, because it will allow your buyer to quote unquote back out if in the event the tenant had not moved out, and if it's going to end up being a lengthy drawn out process to be able to get those tenants out.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
make sure you use the word subject to as part of that contingency.
Correct. And then 3 days earliest time that the seller or buyer may give the other a demand to close, 72 hours demand to close. So what is demand to close? DC basically states that if the transaction was scheduled to close tomorrow, which is what, August 19th? 18th? Okay, then, and doesn't look like it's gonna close something, there's a hiccup with the buyer or even the seller, then that gives the parties the opportunity to send out the demand to close. And that starts the timeline of a 72-hour period. Now, the day of that submission of that demand to close starts the following day, because the day you send is considered 0 days. The following day starts at 72 hours. Does that make sense? Okay.
And that does not include weekends.
That includes weekends, yeah.
Really, you can close escrow on Sunday,
You cannot close escrow.
right, or Saturday.
But you
If day 3
cancel.
is Saturday,
Yeah, but if that's the case and the deal ends up, the 72-hour falls on the Saturday or Sunday.
Right.
Then ultimately the buyer or the seller have the right to cancel.
so the seller can cancel on that Sunday.
Yeah.
Send
even
the
though-
cancellation.
Yeah, the cancellation. Obviously, Monday, then you're gonna give notice to escrow, hey, we officially canceled, or we started the process of cancellation from Saturday. But you want to keep paper trail on that. Okay, cool. Any questions? Everyone understands, acknowledges. Okay, I want to have you sign an initial of this. All right.
Okay, how about this?
Get ready for your final test now. All right, cool. All right, that's it. And next slide. All right, any listing pitches and buyer needs that you guys like to share? Any upcoming? Yes, Sammy.
I have a two-bed detached condo coming for lease. early September, if you mind, but it's, about 1140 in Powerball. It's gonna be about 2,600.
Capital, is that Lamita or Alex? San Pedro.
Yeah, that's all
Okay,
I have.
beautiful.
220.
Awesome, thank you.
I
Yes,
wanted to tell you guys, 4010 Bluff, I just changed the commission to 4%. You have the ability to make $63,470 if you bring a buyer to perform that, and you guys just learned all this stuff about contracts, you know what to do.
It's overpriced. That's simple.
You can give the other 2% to your clients to make it money. Yes, the market, they are not gonna drop the price. They refuse to do it because there's just a turnkey and everything else and something isn't. So just bring the buyers.
No.
I figured I can entice you guys to bring the buyers instead of.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, the buyers are enthusiastic for us to get 4% instead of 2.5%.
You know what, it's what you do with it, I don't care.
very nice. Okay, so, anyone else? Yes, Jennifer.
Friday. Friday, we have a soccer game,
Oh, yes.
8 and 9. And
Back
if you'd
to
like
back.
to play soccer with us, because we need breaks.
A rotation.
Yes, Gary Nix is our team captain. So if you're interested in playing, just contact Gary or Andrew on that point. But 8 and 9 on Friday. Okay? And these three in play too, right, guys?
Awesome. Beautiful. All right, thank you, Jennifer.
This thing today, no celebrations, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 900 square feet at a venue, both box community, it's 1 year old. Model unit. A lot of designer upgrades and real estate.
Beautiful. All right, what's the asking price, I'm sorry?
1.19.
Beautiful. That's it.
Yeah, I have one in Whittier coming up next week, it's 3-1. It's gonna be 750, it's 1,100 square feet and has a really like nice texture.
Beautiful. Awesome. Cool. All right. All right. That concludes our team meeting. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you all. Let's go have some empanada now. Thank you, guys. And ladies and gentlemen.